Hello, everyone. I trust that you're all doing well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Right, welcome to the MSM Forex trading space. Right, a place where mutual interest is made. Right, a place where we are trying to achieve. Right, what's good for you and what's good for me. Right, because that's how the world works. It's always about mutual interest. Right. That's the reason why you've clicked this video in the first place. You want to achieve something for yourself, and by posting this video, right, giving it to you, I'm also achieving something, right, from my side that I can see as an advantage. So that's how I see my trading space as, right? It's different from other trading spaces, right? Some trading spaces clearly they are aimed at just achieving what the trading space's objective is, right? Rather than the people's objectives being met, right? So, what's the objective of MSM Forex trading space? Especially as for 2026, by the way, Happy New Year, guys. I really wish you a happy trading year, right? To be honest, I feel like 2026 is the year that marks a long time since you have started trading. Whoever you are, if you're starting out, then it's cool. You are in the right hands, right? Even if you started a long time ago, you're still in the right hands. And to go back to the objectives of this system, of this trading space, it's consistent profitability, right? It's providing you with the knowledge, right, with the services that can lead you to consistent profitability. We all want to make money from trading, right? That's where we want to reach. And the only way to make money from trading is consistent profitability, right? So, once again, in conclusion, I conclude that this is a place where mutual interest is simply met. That's the objective. So, as we begin 2026, I pray and I wish that we all embark on this journey, this forex trading journey, which is continuous. We want to embark on it happily and successfully together as a team, right? So, happy new trading year, ladies and gentlemen. So, before I go to the objectives of this video, if you like my stuff, right, if you're probably watching right now, I really appreciate you, men, right, or women. So please leave a like, hit the subscribe button, put the notification bell, right, and I would really advise that you have a book and a pen as you watch this because I'm a person who's not stingy with information. If it's my choice to actually give information, I give it, right? I don't try to make it in riddles or, in a hard way that it is to understand the information. So I advise that you have a book and a pen, right? They say knowledge is prey and writing is the net, right? That's a quote from Romeo that I always used every day, right? As a reminder to know that when you are trying to gain information, you have to be writing down, right? It improves, it helps you process information better if you are writing down. And of course, ultimately coming back to what you have wrote down at a later stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my video. In this video, the objective is to give you 2026 outlook for Euro USD and GBP USD. So, what's the objectives of this video? Is to give you an outlook, right? What to expect of 2026 as a whole, right? As a candle, right? What are you going to be expecting of 2026? So, that's for the yearly time frame first. Then we move on to the 6 months, 3 months, monthly, weekly, daily, right? and I'm not sure if I if I go to the 4 hour, maybe I may, right? But I'm trying to give you an overall view, right? If I move on to the 4 hour, that's very intricate. You only reach the 4 hour and 1 hour, given that you're now starting a new daily candle and you're probably hoping to speculate, right? That's when you go to those time frames lower than the daily, right? But for the daily going up to the 12 months, it's for a higher time frame overview, right? We are simply trying to come up with something called a higher time frame draw of liquidity and directional bias of that candle of that certain time frame you are looking at, right? So without wasting much time, let's get into it. So right now we're on the 12 month chart. Me personally, I trade Euro USD and GBP USD, right? These are the best pairs ever, right? In terms of forex, if you're into forex, if you're trading Euro USD even alone, it's completely fine. You don't need anything else, right? You don't need to be having hundreds of pairs on your watch list, right? Um, if you're looking for something consistent, peaceful, right, and you don't want madness, I advise that you just stick to just one pair, right? And of course, looking at another pair for SMT, right? By the way, if you don't know what SMT is, you're in big trouble. I advise that you seek guidance immediately, right? Um, so, right, first things first. Okay, actually, before I start, sorry for the delay, but before I start, I'm going to be short and precise, right? I cannot be teaching you everything, right? I will explain one or two things or a few things that I know aren't really explained anywhere else, right? But my overall objective is just to give you the outlook, right? So really don't expect me to be explaining like every single thing, right? If you are lost, if you're looking for guidance, um, join my WhatsApp channel, right? My WhatsApp group. I'll leave the link in the description box. Right there, you can get access to my WhatsApp group and my contact as well from the group, as I'm the only admin in there. And if you're looking for guidance, I offer a one-on-one private coaching program, right? That's where I share with you my personal trading system, the MSM Forex 4.0 innovated system, right? Which is something I innovated recently, right? It's my personal trading system. It outlines everything, right? How I'm going to be going about everything for each and every time frame, right? Until the lower time frames for execution. So if you like the way I will be doing my analysis and I'll be explaining, and you think that it's worthwhile to be learning my my trading system in depth, um, you just follow the link in the description box. So perfect. So what's the first thing that you have to do when you start your analysis, right? You have to define the order flow. What is defining the order flow? Defining the order flow, that means looking at past price action, defining if it was bullish or bearish, right? And also defining what you are aspiring of future price action, right? Are you expecting a market structure shift, right? A possible order flow shift, which I call it a POS, right? Meaning that if you are bearish, then you're now expecting bullish, right? Or you're expecting a continuation. That all is covered within what? Defining your order flow. That's actually the first section. Sorry, excuse me. That's actually the first section of my trading system. Defining what? Your order flow. So, how do you define the order flow? So many questions, right? There'll be so many questions. How do you define your order flow? You use market structure principles, right? So basically, you're looking at rejection of highs and lows, right? And breaking of highs and lows. So if price is bearish, then price has to be have been breaking lows and rejecting the highs, right? and of course filling the bearish gaps, creating lower prices if the price is bearish. So clearly this is the easiest part, looking at price, um, past price movements, right? And defining what order flow price is in its current state, right? So basically looking at Euro USD and GBP USD, you can see that price was clearly bearish. Price was rejecting highs and breaking lows in filling the bearish gaps to create lower prices, right? This is the current order flow. But we all know that what happened in the past is never a way to assure what is going to happen in the future in forex trading. We all know that, right? Even though I see many mentors on YouTube, right, that you guys actually follow, they'll go on the charts, tell you our price was creating higher highs, higher lows. Price, what price did a long time ago is simply an excuse for what um they say of the trade that they entered, right? It's simply unreasonable the way they do their market structure analysis. It's so subjective, right? There's no mechanical way to prove why they are even saying that price is bullish or price is bearish, right? But welcome to the place where we are mechanical and we are objective, right? And the way we do things, how the way we do things is completely predetermined, right? So price has been bearish, like I said, right? So that's the current order flow, right? You're looking at rejection of highs and breaking of lows, filling of gaps, right? And you're also looking at SMTs, right? SMT, as you can see, we had an SMT at this point. This was on GBP USD right there, as that candle low was not breached, but sorry for the for the previous trend, right? As you can see, price did not breach that candle high, but right here you can see that the same candle high was breached. Price creating what? Lower prices. So price was clearly bearish, right? But now this was the current. We now have to evaluate the future order flow, right? How do you come up with the future order flow? You need to analyze something called higher time frame order flow, right? In order for you to anticipate what current order flow may come as in the future, right? So as you can see, the higher time frame order flow is clearly bullish, right? Of course, we do not have access to a time frame that is higher than the 12 months time frame, but clearly you can see that if we were at such a time frame, you'd be able to see clear bullishness, right? Clear bullishness. As for GBP USD, I know price has clearly been bearish in terms of higher time frame order flow, right? That's the first thing that you look at. So price has been bullish. So if price has been bullish, then this bearish order flow will end at a certain point, right? We cannot expect price to keep on being bearish when on the higher time frame we are what? We're being bullish. So how do you go about things? How do you go about things? Since that's the first point that goes against this current trend, higher time frame order flow, you can also look at something called ranges, right? Range dynamics. They can also show you a possible change, right? In in the trend or in the order flow state of the market. As you can see, we had this range high, range low, right? If you don't know how to pick a valid range, you are in trouble, right? I advise that you seek guidance, right? right here on GBP USD with this range. Oh, guys, I'm actually feeling a bit drowsy today. I had promised everyone on every platform that today I'm dropping my outlook for 2026. So please don't judge if I sound a little bit boring. I'm actually drowsy. I'm tired. I've been working on this MSM FX 4.0 system for days now, and yeah, I needed to make it as simple as possible because simplicity is everything, right? If something is sophisticated and you don't even understand it yourself, how do you expect to profit from that? So I've tried to come up, right, with something simple that someone can simply scale with, right? Yeah. So please don't mind my drowsiness. The core objective is just to give you my thoughts in the end. If you get those thoughts, then I've done my part, right? If you seek more, if you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, then yeah, you know what to do. It's fine. Um, what's the next thing that's important? The next thing that's important is also looking at SMT. We also had an SMT at this point, right? We also had an SMT at this point, right? And a current dealing range that we were in would be this dealing range. If you don't know how to use dealing ranges, if you don't know why I'm using them, then you're in trouble. Mm, as for right here, we obviously have this as a dealing range, right? Or you could even use that one as a dealing range, right? That one as a dealing range. It's fine. So what am I doing? All this stuff that I did, right? Identifying the range, identifying the dealing range. I'm doing it in order to anticipate what the future order flow would be, right? So I was bearish, right? But we all know that whether you're bearish or bullish on a certain time frame, price will always obey what's happening on the higher time frames, right? So you have to make sure that you are in line with the higher time frames. So um, when price reaches a key level, a higher time frame key level, right? Um, in a dealing range, right? In the discount region in this case, then you simply cannot anticipate price to keep on being bearish. So eventually my future um, ambition for price is price to shift from bearish order flow to bullish order flow. So why as well you even see that I had a bullish type of range and we have that soup right there. This was the range low plus Tero soup. Range low plus Tero soup. Right there, range low plus Tero soup. Then that is my range high. So you see that this is favoring bullish. And if you know ranges, you know that if a range is spread and you get a CSD like this, then simply you can anticipate that price is definitely approving to be going for the what 50% of the range and the opposite end, right? So um my future sorry, I'm now doing it again. My future ambition for price in terms of its order flow is to be bullish, right? Bullish Euro USD, it is on the 12 month time frame. Then the second stage of the analysis that is important is plotting your liquidity matrix, right? So how do you plot a liquidity matrix? A liquidity matrix is plotted like so. First of all, you've already defined the price to be bullish, right? So if price is gonna be bullish, then you need price to be filling internal bullish internal range liquidity, right? And going for the external range liquidity towards the what? The long-term drop liquidity, right? So the coming the your sorry your overall conclusion for price in terms of the drop liquidity is knowing the long-term drop liquidity and the short-term drop liquidity. But the first stage is understanding internal and external range, right? Then later on you categorize your liquidity to long-term and short-term, right? So how do you do that? You do it by understanding that if price is bullish, then you need price to be filling internal range liquidity. And internal range liquidity involves PDRAs, all PDRAs, all short-term swings, right? That is fair value gaps, order blocks, all blocks, right? They act as internal range liquidity. So once price reaches internal range liquidity, you're now expecting price to be going forward for the external, right? For the external. So easily this becomes your internal range liquidity and your external range liquidity. External range liquidity refers to highs and lows, right? Major highs and lows. So this candle high would act as a fair external range liquidity right there. And hoping that the external range liquidity is in the direction of the what? Of the long term. So you're finished, right? With mixing up internal and external, right? So these are your first draw of liquidities, right? You need price to reach internal, right? Then go for external. If price goes for external first, then you expect price to be going for what? Internal. That's the cycle of draw of liquidity. Then then you need to enlarge your draw of liquidity scope by looking at order flow as a whole, right? If you're expecting price to be bullish, you need price to be rejecting lows, like you can see right there. If price rejects lows, then you need price to what? To break highs. So immediately that high can become your long-term draw of liquidity, and that same high is on GBP USD. That is your long-term draw of liquidity. If you look at range dynamics, I already plotted this range, so definitely you know that price, if it's obeying the range, it's being attracted to the 50% of it and the opposite end, right? So that high typically would act fine, I believe so, to be as a long-term draw of liquidity. Then you can also use dealing ranges, right? You can plot a dealing range, and I believe that the 50% of this whole dealing range had already been met, right? And the premium key level, right down there, this order block which was mitigated. So that means this dealing range has been balanced, so you'll be putting your hopes towards the what? Towards the sky, right? Being your draw of liquidity. I'm quite strained, but it is my objective to make sure that I give you this outlook, right? Right. So if you look at that high, that's the same high that is right there. So yeah, similarly, you can have the same objective, but this is the yearly time frame. So even having those highs nearby, it's completely fine with me, right? Then after that, you have to form a narrative. A narrative is simply using order flow, range dynamics, dealing ranges, SMT, in order to find the best key level, right? Or an anchor point for price towards your what? Your long-term draw of liquidity or short-term draw of liquidity. Right. In this case, you can see that price had already reached this order block, right? So, and right here, if you look at right there, this order block is the same with this one, which has not met. So this one is an SMT, right? That's an SMT type of order block. So you expect on euro that price may not reach this order block, right? So you may actually see price move towards the sky on euro USD, because on GBP USD important mitigations have already been made, right? That can allow a continuation of price towards the long term draw of liquidity. So that's how it works. Then so what's your narrative? Your narrative would be your bias for this 2026. You're expecting 2026 to be a bearish candle towards the short-term draw of liquidity, right? Your main where your main eye should be at that previous at that 2024 order block, right? On GBP USD. So if price properly has mitigated this one, then you can start anticipating price to go towards the long term. So we are bullish on Euro USD, guys, and GBP USD, and our bias is bearish until price mitigates the short term. Then once the short term is reached, we are bullish. So yes, overall, the yearly candle for 2026, hopefully it must be a bullish candle in the end, right? If it ends as a bearish candle, then price is just trying to mitigate short-term draw of liquidity, hopefully. Then once it's reached, we can start speculating bullish. So that's the 12-month outlook for GBP USD and Euro USD, ladies and gentlemen. So I shall now be a bit fast. I know long videos are straining, so I'm just gonna be fast, right? Once again, my main aim is just to give you something, something that's conclusive, and I would say that's still my outlook for 2026. Then I'll be fine. Then I rest once and for all, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on the 6-month chart. So the first thing is defining your order flow. As you can see on the 6-month chart, the algorithm was now bullish, price disrespecting all those bearish fair value gaps. Price is now bullish on the 6-month time frame. And in terms of my anticipation for the future trend, first of all, higher time frame order flow. I do not have anything on the higher time frame that that is in contrast with what I can already see on the 6-month time frame. So I'd say yes, it's quite safe for me, in my own opinion, to keep on being bullish, right, without any shift coming anytime soon, right, in terms of order flow at this time frame level. So I can immediately just even conclude my order flow to be bullish. If you want to be more precise, you could look at SMT, right? You can see that this candle on Euro USD, right there on my left, was not mitigated, right? But here it was mitigated. That's an SMT showing bullish prices, right? There are many ways you can use range dynamics if possible, right? You can see that this range low is actually still a range low on the 6 month time frame, with that is our range high. So, and with this CSD mitigated, so why not can we keep on anticipating higher prices, right? So we are bullish on the 6 month time frame. Now, in terms of my liquidity matrix, as you can see, I already have that as my long-term growth liquidity, which is my higher time frame growth liquidity. So I need price to be filling in bullish internal range liquidity and going for the external. So what's the form of internal range liquidity that I would have? First of all, that was the order block right there, right, which was already mitigated. So I'm simply anticipating what price to be going for the external range liquidity. So in the end, right, after even enlarging my scope with ranges, um, I can see that the range that I had plotted on the 12 months is similar to the range that's still on the 6 month. So this still remains as the long term, right? The direction of the long term growth liquidity, and my short term would be this internal range liquidity. But right here, the internal range liquidity has already been reached. So immediately, it's I feel like it's quite rational for you to just be bullish, right? Have your 6 month bias as bullish towards the what? The external range liquidity. So that's my bias for the 6 months time frame. I completely have no reason to say that I'm expecting the first 6 months to be bearish, right? I completely have no reason, but for the next 6 months to be bullish, I have the reason, right? So in the 6 month time frame, we are bullish. Then the 3 month time frame. The 3 month time frame, here we go. What have we got on the 3 months in terms of order flow? Clearly bullish. The algorithm has been bullish for the past 3 years since 2022. Price has been moving in a bullish order flow, right? But that was just the current order flow. What can we expect of the future order flow? Well, on the higher time frames, it really doesn't seem like there's a significant place where we could be calling a key level for price, right? So in terms of the left, of course, in terms of the premium. So I would still expect price to continue being bullish. We also have an SMT right there giving us conviction for what? For bullish prices. And this one could actually act as a CRT as well, right? It can, right? Because CRT candle key level, right? Yeah, it would fit quite perfectly. Oh, that's the SMT, right? And we are coming off a high time frame key level. So of course the only result that you would be coming up with on the 3 months is what? Is your bias being bullish towards the what? This CRTI. That would be your long-term growth liquidity. Now for the monthly, yes, I'm being quick, guys. I'm being quick because because if this video becomes too long, it's gonna be hard to upload, right? It's not gonna be easy to upload. Plus, once again, I can't explain everything in just an hourly video, Yeah. So please appreciate that I'm giving you my anticipation. Then use my anticipation, blend it with yours, and see what's best for you. Yep. On the 1 month time frame, it's just similar, like on the what you call it, on the 3 months time frame. So basically, we are bullish, and what do I expect price to do? To continue bullish towards the higher time frame, draw of liquidity. And what do I expect to be as a propeller towards right there? As you can see, price is clearly engulfed this candle after an SMT. Just imagine, after an SMT. So right there was a purge, right? So this candle is a valid order block, and price engulfed it, right? It engulfed the body, right, of the candle, so it can act as a proper order block, right? If price properly mitigates it, so we are bearish until price makes proper mitigations, right, within this block, and we would expect price to what, to continue being bullish. And we could also add on seasonal tendencies, right? January is usually a bearish month, so if you can find the right context, you might be bearish in January, as you hope to see price move towards what, a proper short-term draw of liquidity. Then once it's reached and filled, price goes for the long term, right? And by the way, we also have an SMT right there with the DXY. Let me show you. Seeing is believing. Right there, you can see the SMT. You can see the SMT right there. So this could give conviction for what, for a bearish this January bias towards what, towards a good level. Then once the good level is reached, price goes up. We are bullish, remember. So great. Moving on to the weekly. Moving on to the weekly, we have been bullish, right? We have been bullish, but what's my anticipation for the future? Being bullish was just the past, but what is of the future? So what's of the future? First of all, just making sure that you don't have any higher time frame order flow contradictions with this bullish order flow. And to be honest, we simply don't, right? So basically, you need price to be going for the internal and the external, that is in the direction of the what, long-term draw of liquidity, right? So what's my internal range draw of liquidity? I decided it's a proper internal range draw of liquidity that can possibly be reached, right? Because we are also coming off from a monthly SMT right there, right? So price has to be propelled towards a fair internal range liquidity. Then once the internal range liquidity is met, price will be what? We may be inclined towards the long term. So on the weekly, I'll be bearish towards towards this. I don't see a perfect correlation right here, so this low would act as so. Right. There wasn't really any SMT in terms of the candles. I really wish there would be, right? But I'm just expecting price to be pushed just a little lower, right? Price is not bearish, right? But just a little lower to fill in the internal range liquidity, then price can possibly continue. So yeah, that is my outlook on the weekly, my weekly bias for next week. By the way, it's hard to come up with the weekly bias without the first week of the month, right? The first week of the month is always a framework, right? If you look at what it did to a certain key level, it's easier to come up with something for the second week and the third one and the fourth one, right? So simply that's how it works. That's how it works. To this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now freaking tired, right? But I think what you must just take as a takeaway is that on the 12-month chart, 6-month chart, 3-month chart, we are bullish. We are expecting bullish prices for the next 3 months, right? So your job as an intraday trader is to trade towards the short term, right? So you'll be bearish in the short term, right? Towards an internal range liquidity. Once it's reached, then you become bullish, right? You become bullish. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this insightful. There's just so much to learn. I can't just give it away in just 40 minutes. It simply doesn't make sense, right? That will be ignorant of you to feel like I must just give you all the information in one video for free, right? That will be quite arrogant of you. So please appreciate what I've done for you today. I'm quite tired. I was forced by the words that I had given you guys to make this outlook, right? So cheers everyone. Please join my group where you'll be getting follow-ups every day from my outlooks, right? You'll be able to get a follow-up from my outlooks, and yeah, let's embark together on this 2026 trading journey. You're welcome. Cheers.